Thanks for coming, Ben. This is the Karen Mitches podcast, and this is Ben Albert.
Thank you for having me, Karen. How's your day going so far?
It's going pretty good. Enjoying the heat wave.
Yeah, it's fucking hot as shit out there, eh? I was sweating today. But it's supposed to be, is it, you called it a wave? Is it leaving or something?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be today and tomorrow. It's like the intensity of it. I think it's done by Friday.
Oh, shit. Okay. So we can stop sweating. The swass. The swass is only 2 days longer. All right. Cool. What do you want to talk about, Karen?
I want to know about Elliot Lake.
You want to know about Elliot Lake?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you want to know about it? It's a fucking small town, Northern Ontario, about 10,000 people.
What's it directly north of?
North. Well, we're more like northwest of here. Like people that are north of Toronto would probably bitch at me, but we're like 2 hours west of Sudbury.
So are you like, what lake are you near? Or
Elliot Lake.
What Great Lake are you near?
Superior, right? Is that the one? Yeah. Superior is like near. It's up there. We're on the top half of it.
So you're at the top of the lake.
Yeah. Well, I think there's more. Like you can keep going. I think like Thunder Bay is up by like the most like northern point of Superior.
When you go into the States, what U.S. state are you by?
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah. But we have Sault Ste. Marie is like the border town, which is like 2 hours from Elliot, more west. So we'd go there. I worked in the Sault for the past 5 years, so that would be like 8 hours from here, whereas
Shit.
Elliot's like 6.
So the Sault is like your big town.
No, Sudbury's our big town.
Oh.
Which we're right in the middle of the two, but Sudbury's like bigger. They got a Costco. They got all the shopping amenities, right? Stuff like that. So people go there. Some people prefer the Sault. The Sault's the border town, right? So if you're going to the States, then a lot of people go to the Sault to gamble and shit at the casinos.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what's Sudbury good for?
It's just big. It's got like 130,000 people. Just got like, if you play hockey, that's where you're going to go. And yeah, it's just a big town. You go get your socks and underwear there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what is Elliot Lake known for?
So originally back in like the 50s, there was this huge uranium boom. We were actually like the uranium capital of the world.
Oh, shit.
For not too long. We were actually on Russia's hit list for nukes. Like we were on their list.
Oh,
So
fuck.
that's like our little feature because I guess bombs are made out of
Uranium.
So
Is anything non-violent made out of uranium?
I don't
Like, I
think so
guess-
because it's very what's it called, like radioactive. Like we have a lot of tailing spawns around Elliot Lake because it was just this huge boom right during the 60s and 70s of Elliot Lake. A lot of people moving up. Like my family originally, like my grandparents are from Toronto. They moved up there to like when this boom was going on, and my grandpa opened like a gas station or some shit. But there was this boom, like they had never seen a boom like this where they were popping up houses like left and right. And obviously when you're popping them up crazy fast, like buildings, right? It's like I think like 35,000 people moved Elliot in like 2 years. So it was like a lot, right? So and that's why like we have our mall collapsed in 2012. We've had like 3 or 4 buildings collapse.
Oh, because everything was built in a hurry.
Everything was kind of built in a rush. I don't know if that's what people, but like kind of makes sense, right? Like they were just popping houses up. And you got to think back in the 60s and 70s, they like to fucking booze and not follow the rules. So like they were probably on the piss building this shit. And but then and that was during like when my mom was in high school during the 80s. Elliot was fucking popping. There was like a ton of shit going on. But then in the 90s, it was like ghost town because all the mines shut down. Like one day they're like, there's no more uranium, and like everyone fucking left town. They fun little fact, like there's a subdivision in Elliot, like because Elliot was growing so fast, they built a subdivision. We call it the new sub, which is like a bunch of houses, like I think 300 houses. And during the 90s, Elliot Lake was so dead, and we didn't have any type of job thing, like what's that called, like industry.
Yeah.
They didn't have any type of industry, so there was no, like, it was just a ghost town. So they actually sold every house in the new sub for $1.
What?
Yeah, people.
Do you know people who got their house for $1?
No, so they sold it to an industry, right? So they sold it to this place called Retirement Living, they came in and moved Elliot Lake into a retirement town. That was the plan. So they're going to change it from this uranium town. They have all these houses. We're going to turn it into like a retirement living.
Okay.
So they came in and they bought for $1 all the houses in the new sub. Honestly, I could have somebody fucking calling me out saying this is some fucking wives' tale, but
you got it wrong.
I got it wrong. I'm gonna have a bunch of Elliot Lakers on my ass here. But, no, I think for like $1, and like there was some people, some like, I forget, you wouldn't know it, but like, do you know who Bob Azumi is?
No.
He's like a big time fisherman, I guess, like a famous fisherman.
Yeah.
He got like a couple houses. They were just trying to like, I think Elliot was just so desperate during the 90s to like get something going. They were trying anything. But now it's like retirement living in like cottage country kind of thing. I've always like,
did a lot of your friends leave, or do you still have like,
there's
people still
a lot of us left, but like a lot of them are still there. But like my group of friends there it's like different. There's like, we have like a really tight knit group of people. Like there's like probably like 50 of us.
Just a small tight knit group of 50 buddies.
But it's this weird thing, and girls and guys though, I'm saying. So it's like we have this where it was weird because I'm on the older side of this friend group. So like it's like my group and like my brother's group who's 3 years younger than me, and like our whole, like after high school everyone just kind of merged into like one big friend group kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like we have like 45, 50 people that we're all like are in that. Some, like, I don't live there. There's a lot of people that don't even live there, but we're all in like group chats. We go home and have an event together or whatever like that, right? So that kept a lot of people around because there was like that tight knit group of people, and around our age, a lot of people did stay back in Elliot, but like that's not really common to have like such a tight knit group of friends like that.
Yeah. So
a lot of ages higher than us, like older than us, a lot of people just like left, right? And obviously there is the people that stick around, but you kind of have to be like different. Like you have to have in my opinion, you have to be like, to want to stay in Elliot. And trust me, I was like the most like small town, like I'm going to live in Elliot for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know, until like I was like 24 and I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my fucking life. You know, this is crazy. It's just like sitting in a garage drinking with the same people every Friday, Saturday. Which could be fun, like if you're into that. But I was just like, this is gonna get old so quick. Like it was getting old, and I was like, I can't. Like literally, if you go, and I'm not even chirping my boys back home, but if you go and see what they're doing this Friday and this Saturday, and then you fast forward 20 years, they're gonna be doing the same thing. You know? And
yeah.
It's just kind of like, I wish I was like, I went through like when I first moved and decided I'm going to move to Toronto to do comedy or whatever. Like I went through this big thing, like mentally, like fighting with myself, just wishing that I could be like normal. Like, just like, I wish I could just get a job, get a house, get an old lady that I can be faithful to or whatever. But just get an old lady and just get 2 kids and a white picket fence and fucking live my life out. But I can't, you know? That is like the most depressing thing is like sitting at home or like being in your hometown for like, I don't know. And I used to think it was like the coolest thing ever.
Okay, when I was really young, I always wanted to leave because I thought I'd do something interesting. But then it turned out I was like a very anxious person, so I kind of couldn't get out of my hometown. Mm-hmm. And then this guy I used to just like hang out with at the bar had like moved to Arizona, and he was home visiting, and he's like, you'll see it, like you'll turn 25 and you'll come to the bar and like there won't be anybody here, and then you won't want to be here anymore. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, I'll be fine. But then it was true. Like I think I got out 25, 26, because everybody who stays kind of like has kids, and it just, motivated me to leave.
Yeah. I think like if you're staying, you're settling, and like no matter how you want to, whatever way you want to wash it up, but like if you're staying, there's just so much more to learn out in the world. Or like you don't even like, there's a lot of people that I know back home, my buddies, that would argue me on this fact, like, no, I like my hometown, no, I like it, nope, this is what I like. But they haven't lived outside, because I was like that, and then I moved and trust me, that first bit when I moved, like I went to Austin for a month and then came here, like 6 months, I was so fucked. I didn't know, like I had to like not reinvent myself, but kind of find myself, like, because I didn't know, you know, and it, like where I wanted to, I just didn't know life, and I thought I had it, and then when I left, it was like this super eye-opening thing that I'm like, oh, I'm not the person that I thought I was. Like when you're in a small town, like you have this like confidence, or like you, because you're in this small town, like, but then you go out into the real world and like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but
no, I get it. I think like how you view yourself, how we view ourselves is very relational. Mm-hmm. So you're oriented towards all the people you know around you, and then when you go somewhere else, you lose that orientation. You have to refine it, and it totally changes how you see yourself.
No, exactly. And yeah, it's like weird. Like people are kind of like almost kind of delusional. Like if in that like, I don't know. Like for me, my perspective is like I grew up in high school and like I was around like the cool people, and like it was like, or whatever, cool, that's what it's all in fucking quotations now, but like what you would consider cool at the time or whatever. And if you're in that, it kind of like stunts your ability to grow your personality, you know, because that's when I quit my job and I was like, I'm going to Austin. I moved to Austin. I was like, I realized real quick that my personality was like, this is it. Or like, nobody here cares that I scored a hat trick in 2016. You know? And I was like, oh, I gotta fucking, I don't know. You gotta like, I don't know. It just stunts your outlook on life, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. But did you score a hat trick in 2016?
Several of them. No, it was earlier than that. I fucked up the year. It was 2013, but I did get 3 Copper Cups, which is a road hockey tournament in my small town, and I have a tattoo of it on my chest. So. That is what the exact delusion I'm talking about. Is like, we won 3 Copper Cups road hockey tournament. Sometimes we'd actually have to beg people to put a team in just so the tournament wouldn't get fucking canceled, just so that we could win. We were the only hockey players in the tournament, and then we thought we were the shit because of that. But nobody cares in Texas if I have a Chiefs tattoo.
Is that the Chiefs is your road hockey team?
Yeah, so like the Copper Cup back home is like, now you're getting me all fired up, but it's like a road hockey tournament that the high school puts on in my small town. And like when you're in elementary school, you kind of like, when I was in elementary school, I couldn't wait to play in the Copper Cup. Like it was this thing that, you know, and it's like the Copper Cup is like a real life-size Stanley Cup. It looks exactly like the Stanley Cup, but it's made out of copper. So it's cool too. So like when we got to high school, we won it 3 times in 3 years in a row. And it's like this thing, it's like this culture within the high school too. Like if you go to like at like assemblies, like there'd be people yelling out their teams. It'd be like, Chiefs. You know? Be like, Chiefs are the best. Fuck the Bears. And it's just this thing. So it was like this cool thing, but that's a classic like small town shit too.
But okay, because it's made up and it's not that big once you go somewhere else. But in a sense, like everything is made up. Like all teams, even if it's, you know, NHL, World Cup, whatever, it's all made up. So in that sense, why not have
But it is all made
Cup
up, but those are made up with the intent of there's going to be skills coming in to compete with your skills to see if you're the best. Whereas that was not. Like there was 4 teams in the tournament, and the one team, our team, were the only people that actually played hockey. Like, and we would just go in and wash every team out, raise the Copper Cup, and be like, yo, we're the best in the world, right? Let's get tattoos. It's fucking ridiculous.
That's amazing. Have you gone back to Elliot Lake to do comedy, like, since you've been down
I go
here?
back every, like, I'll put a show on back home, like, every 8 months. So, like, a year.
And you bring your Toronto comic friends?
Yeah, I'll try and bring some people up. Every year I try to make it a little bit better. the first time I did, I brought up like Jake Silva and Casey Benanici. We had a Benanucci. I don't even fucking know how to say his last name. Sorry, Casey. But and then this time we brought up Ali Maui and Cringe Kev. It was a good time. Probably had like 120 tickets sold in Elliot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, I don't know. Next
How
time
did Ali like Elliot Lake?
You could tell it was a little different, but he's also Ali's like he's from out west, so like he's like from like Fort Mac or some shit or somewhere out there. I don't know if it's Fort Mac, but it's like he's been in
small town Canada.
Yeah, he's been in small town. He's actually seen what Canada's actually kind of like. A lot of these people in Toronto, they don't even get it. Like I don't consider even like I tell people all the time. It's like you need to go farther than I'd say Parry Sound. Parry Sound. So like in my opinion, Toronto and everything around it is just all the bullshit. It's like a melting pot. It's not even really Canada. It's just it's like an extension of the States, I'd say. It's like a fucking sister of New York kind of thing where there's just like everything in there. But then if you actually want to
people call it Little America.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Not really Toronto, like the GTA or like Southwestern Ontario.
Like the culture's the same, you know, like it's a very off of the US. Whereas if you go anything past Parry Sound, if you go Parry Sound to fucking Alberta, all that land in between is gonna be like actual Canada. And you go out there and like you know Braden Lynch?
It sounds familiar.
He's a comedian.
I don't know him.
He's from Saskatchewan. But like when I first seen him, I was like, oh, okay, here's someone that I can fucking like I know a million of Braden Lynch's, you know what I mean? Like, and he's Canadian, you know what I mean? And I would consider myself Canadian as well. Like a lot of people like in Toronto, they'll be like that have just recently come. They've never been outside. I'm like, you got to go and see what Canada's really like. Not that it's fucking amazing, but this isn't Canada.
I'm trying to think. I'm from London, Ontario. I've lived in Toronto and I've lived in Vancouver.
See, that's the thing. I wouldn't even, all those are like, London, I guess, would be, like, London, you're still going to get, like, your fucking hockey retards and all that shit. But it's still kind of like, we would make fun of London from where I'm at. And call them soft pussies. You know?
Oh my, fighting words.
Those are fighting words. I know a couple guys from London. Good guys. Don't know how to drink, though.
Oh.
Yeah. That's like kind of our thing, though.
I know some people in London who know how to drink.
Yeah, but those are like alcoholics. I'm talking about just the median average people. Of being able to dust pints. Like up north, it's like I realized that when I came down south, I'm like, holy fuck. Like up north, it's like my brother, all of his buddies, like I'm not as bad anymore because I don't really drink that much. But all my buddies back home, they were grabbing a 30 rack of Bud Light for a night. And they're all like, you go outside of a party up north and there's just fucking 8 cases of 30 rack Bud Lights and they all got their own case of Bud Light. You know, whereas like you come down here, probably grabbing an 8-pack, these guys, grabbing a 6-pack. Where like up north, it's just like on a different level of drinking. And even all of our girls can drink too. Like it's crazy. Which I thought was completely normal until I came down here.
Is there a drinking league?
A drinking league?
It's not competitive. It's just...
No, but in high school we would have like, a lot of people would do like beer pong tournaments in high school. In Elliot, we would do flip cup tournaments, like full cup, flip cup. Like the girls would play in it as well. So you'd probably, in a tournament, you're probably doing six matches. So you drink 6 full pints.
Oh my.
Yeah, right? So it's like, it's a ridiculous, it was a lot for me. I remember puking and blacking out several in high school. And girls were, like, our girls were doing this too. Like, I swear to God, my sister and like 3 other girls that I can think of can out-chug any guy.
In high school, I would go to a party and bring 2 beers.
Yeah, no. That's crazy. 2 beers. They wouldn't even let me in. They'd be like, oh, you're driving? You don't drink anymore, though, eh?
I don't drink at all.
Let's talk about it.
Let's not.
Have you not talked about it?
I have talked about it on the podcast.
You need to.
Let's talk about it some more.
All right. Let's do it. Why'd you quit?
No.
All right, then. Do you think that quitting drinking is good for you?
It's an awkward thing because it was definitely full-blown alcoholism, but I don't like to get into the thing of like, well, how alcoholic were you? because then I feel like that's embarrassing. And
yeah, but don't you think like because I've never seen you like on stage really talk about it.
Yeah, I don't have any material on it.
Yeah, like I feel like that is like waiting for you to touch.
I've thought about talking about like my rehab experience, because that was
Wait, you actually went to rehab?
Yeah, I did detox for like, I did 10-day detox and then 3 weeks of rehab. So they have like a program where you just hang out and get sober, and that's detox. And then they have rehab.
How long
is like,
for that?
So detox I think is like sometimes it's like 5 to 10 days. And I think
and
mine
that can
was
be sketchy with alcohol, yeah? Detox?
Oh yeah.
Was it like bad for you?
Well, they put you on a tranquilizer when you're in there, so you're not gonna like seizure or anything.
But you were drinking like heavily enough where you like that could have been an issue for you?
I was getting sober regularly, so I didn't have like constant.
But would you go like on benders like a month long of just drinking every day, or would you like, because I know these alcoholics as well that are like, I'm only like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday alcoholic, you know, where they can kind of turn it off from Monday to Wednesday.
Yeah, I was like a weekend alcoholic, and then I was on like a weird like 10-day cycle, so I was always like sober at least one day every 10 days.
But you'd go 10 days on the piss.
Yeah.
I love it. Look at her. She's like the fucking most. I can't see you going on a 10-day bender. That's great.
It's not really like the bender. Like, you're not hammered for 10 days. It's just like 10 days of like
drinking
every day. So it might be like.
And were you doing
3 to 5 days
extraterrestrials as
drinking,
well?
like drugs?
Yeah.
I had a tranquilizer prescription that I weirdly wasn't abusing.
What the fuck is, you've said tranquilizer twice now and it's scaring me. What do you mean tranquilizer?
Like clonazepam, lorazepam.
Is that like anxiety shit?
Benzodiazepines? Yeah, they're what you get for anxiety, which was why I had a prescription. But I think I knew, I don't know. I was just always afraid of those, so I didn't really.
Yeah. I'm afraid of those fuckers too.
You should be afraid of pills. It's like, you can go so far with just, you know, problems with alcohol, weed, shopping. You can ruin your life on that. And then when you move up to pills.
Did you have a little shopping issue?
I did not have a shopping issue. But I just mean there's some issues that aren't even drug related that can be devastating.
Oh, absolutely. I think even porn is a huge one now.
Oh my God. Porn ruined so many people.
Bro. I think it's just become so common now that like, I think it's so weird. Like, I think it's even affected me, and I'm not even lying, like, just keeping it completely, just like, because it's just, I don't know, the numbers are up, you know what I mean? Like, the whack-off count is a lot higher nowadays than it was.
So my thing is, like, I feel like to be an alcoholic became really common for my generation because the amount of girls who drink and who drink regularly moved up. So a woman 10 years older than me, like born in 1970, wouldn't have very many alcoholic friends. Mm-hmm. But I'm one, and I know a lot of women my age who are. And then if you go 10 years younger than me, what I see is like way too many eating disorders, like way more than the women my age, because I think that's tied in with like the porn is like.
You're watching porn so much or something?
Yeah, like it's a lot of like the culture just looking at other people all day long, and then being like women being obsessed with how they look, and then men being like desensitized to like pornography and like sexual stimulation in general, and needing more things to get off.
Absolutely. I need her fucking tied up with a fucking I don't even know, but I ain't coming unless something fuck's going on.
Yeah. But like for context, when I was in high school, the pornography that you could get at was like people still read magazines and pay-per-view. So people were always trying to like descramble the pay-per-view on their TV, but you'd still be dealing with.
Descramble?
Yeah, because it was like you had to pay to get it unscrambled, but you'd be at your parents' house, right? So if you figure out how to descramble it so you can watch porn, it's on your parents' TV, so you still can't be doing it that often, right? Whereas like then it moves onto your laptop or your computer that's in your room, and then you get a generation of people who are watching porn like younger than ever and weirder shit.
Yeah, well, the thing, like I worked at this, like guys are jerking off at work now, bathroom in it. No, seriously, wherever you work, guarantee there's guys 100% there's guys jerking off in that bathroom. I'm not even, and it's just a normal thing. When I worked at the steel plant, I was like 6 hours into my shift, let me go get a wank off. Like it was like having a cigarette. It was like part of the day that you would look forward to. It's actually crazy. But yeah, but when I was younger, like we just had the one computer in the living room, right? So like everyone would have to leave the house for me to jerk off.
Yeah.
And I was the oldest too, by the way, which is like the worst because like you're the first one going through all these.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Trying to figure it out. But and like I remember I used to have to make sure I would run around the house, make sure every room was empty, and then I would go down to the computer and just before I opened up the porn, I would yell out, "Hello!" I'd be all right. Then I'd sit down. And like I have a joke about this, but like even just the content, like when I first started wanking it, like I straight up would jerk off to the Wikipedia page of the word vagina.
Amazing.
And it was like just a classic vagina. And then I moved on to this website called 89.com I found because I was so worried. That was a big thing. I didn't want to have porn, like the word porn, because then I feel like my mom could have found it. You know what I mean? Like on the history or whatever. And I was still deleting history, but I was covering all bases.
Yeah.
So I found this website called 89.com, could be anything. And but it would you could only watch one 1 minute video per genre.
Okay.
So you'd have to like...
Oh, so you have to keep going to new genres.
You have to go to new genres. So you'd have to like warm up on like a shittier genre.
What's...
like a genre that you weren't even in.
What's the shittiest genre?
I don't know, like Brazilian midget porn probably.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't wanking it to Brazilian midget porn, but it was there. No, I would warm up on the ebony.
I want to get into this with you.
The ebony, is that how you say it? Damn. But yeah. How the fuck did we started with Elliot Lake and now we're on to wanking it.
We talked about my drinking and now we're talking about your possible porn addiction?
Yes. It's definitely live. It's not possible. It's there. It's happening. I'm working on it though. It's this weird thing though. I don't know. Because it's not like, unless you're really self-conscious or not like self-aware, I don't think you would like, I just recently in the past like 6 months was like, I'm like, maybe I should relax though. Because it is like, I don't know, just becoming the norm. And I think it's like, I think that I seen this video the other day on Instagram of like this guy like pretty well making fun of like guys my age saying that like we're always like our sex drives I think are just naturally down, and I'm not even, I can feel that like but it's because like we're constantly like vaping, we're fucking getting a jerk, fucking we're gaming, we're on our phones, like we're constantly like endorphins, or what is that?
Yeah.
Is that the word? Or
dopamine?
Dopamine. Bam. Dopamine. Like I feel like we're just constantly dopamine. It was like, that was the video, like your dopamine addicted boyfriend, and that was his character he was playing. And I was like, oh, this is like, I think I'm like, because I'm constantly like, bro, I can't even go walk to the bathroom without putting a podcast on real quick.
Yeah.
Because I just hate the silence.
Okay, so I was thinking about this today because it's been a while since I've written any new comedy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, is it because I'm always like getting some kind of dopamine rush from something, so I'm not getting like bored enough or frustrated enough that like my silly mind has to kick in to like rescue me from reality?
Yeah, I find that too, actually. It's kind of like your brain's almost like, well, I don't know, the research that I've done on it is that like we're so, our bodies are so drained of our what was that word?
Dopamine.
That like it takes so much for us to even get excited about things, like especially with like, because I'm ADHD, like people with ADHD even more than that, just because our natural dopamine levels are like already lower. So like when we like do things like for like doing the dishes, like some people, normal people would get like a dopamine rush from doing the dishes,
like the feeling of accomplishing
it, whereas like I don't get that at all, right? Which could be because of the ADHD, but I think that the way that like we're getting so much dopamine now, it's like anything that you do, it's like if it's not giving you an instant reward, it doesn't really, like writing, like
you'd have to buy like an entirely new set of dishes to feel a rush.
Yeah, or like just even with like your writing, you're saying like, because I have a hard time too, like sitting down and writing. It's because it's not like you're not getting like that dopamine rush.
Do you feel it though when you're like performing, people are laughing at it?
Yeah, I think that's like the only reason, like, yeah, that's why I love comedy, because like after you're done, you're like, that was awesome. And I just like, I don't know about you, but that feeling is just like unbelievable.
When you're, oh yeah, for sure. When you're like writing, are you writing most of it before? Are you like working it on stage?
No, like I'll just like think of something, I'll write it in my notes, and then go on stage and try and talk about it, like, but, and it's not good, because I'm trying to be more like structured with it, where like I'll not only think of an idea, but then actually try and write there, right? Like as I think of the idea, but like right now, in like my style for the longest time has just been like, think of an idea, bomb on it for like a month and a half until like something comes out of it, and then take that little piece of gold and it's very like, it's not what's the word when you're like, what's that word, like quick, but like efficient. It's not efficient for my writing, like, that I've realized, because like I'll have like an idea or like a basis, and I'll like work on it, or like I won't do any prior work. You know, I'm being lazy about it because I'm just like, oh, idea, bam, and I'll consider that me writing. But that's not me writing.
Yeah.
It's me thinking of a fucking idea and then going on stage and trying to fucking decipher and like figure it out. And then like, I won't even like write down after like any note, you know what I mean? Like I'll just have that idea there, just 4 words in my notes. And then eventually, like a month and a half in, or 2 months of like bombing it at open mics, I'll be like, oh, this, you know, here I have something finally. Whereas I'm trying now to like actually, first of all, write it out. Like any ideas or like a punchline or like some kind of structure to the joke, and then go on stage, and then from there I find that it develops a lot faster, because you already kind of have your structure, and you're like, you need to have, like, for me at least, like I find I do best with new shit if I have a structure, and then I can go off of it as I'm on stage, right? And then I'll like grab that and be like, okay, no, this is good, and I'll put this here, and then after like a month and a half, it's like, it's usable, I guess. But
that's still like impressive that you were just going to the mic and just bombing and and you just kept going with it.
That's the thing though, but it also, I have so much shit where I've gone and I bombed it and said, that's gone.
Oh, so you lost stuff.
Yeah, where I'm just like, no, I'm not going to use that. Whereas there's been times where like I'll try something out, whatever, it doesn't work. 6 months later, I'll see in my notes and be like, oh, I'll try it again. Then I'll say it again, and something will be in there, and I'll be like, fuck. I'm just trying to be more professional on it. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I just feel like if you want to be a professional, you got to act like one, I guess, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. I'm trying to get better at it. How do you write?
I come up with a premise, and then I just try to like I'll write down like 10 premises, and then I'll come back to them later and try to just see if I can make one work. But then I did that for a while, and it was really good. Then I had a couple that were I just thought of like a story that I wanted to tell. Mm-hmm. But now I feel like I can't think of a story I want to tell. And when I write down premises, like I used to just have so many that would come off the top of my head, and I'd get 10 down and like 3 of them would be usable. Yeah. But now I'm like, I can't. It's like I feel like I don't have any more ideas.
I know. I feel like that all the time too.
But maybe I'll just tell my rehab story.
Dude, that is like, you're freaking ridiculous for not already talking about that.
Bunch of characters in it.
And I think that it'll just open you up. Like, it'll just like, because I can tell right now that you're kind of like a little bit like nervous about talking about it.
Oh, for sure.
Right? But once I find that like, and I learned it too, whereas there's these things that I was so nervous about talking on stage, or I never thought it. And then you do it, and it just takes this like cloak of anxiety off you. And then you become, I think, more of a comedian, because all the comedy, like, you need to be like, in my opinion, like comedy is like like, you're just like trying to break yourself down, like as much as you can. No, like seriously, like
I'm out.
You're trying to break yourself down into like, so that you don't take anything, like, that you're not anxious about anything that's going to be coming out of your mouth. You don't care, because that's when the funniest comes out, I think, right? Where you, if you're ever trying to like limit yourself, or like, I shouldn't say that, is like, whenever I've gone on stage and I've been like maybe nervous that someone's in the crowd that I couldn't, those are always the worst ones. Whenever I go up there, that's why I love Keys. Because I go up there, I don't give a fuck. And I always have like good sets there, because I don't care about anybody that's there, or it's not like this is going to make or break my career.
I wouldn't say I don't care about the people that are there, but I feel like we're all in like a weird space together. And it's like, you can be weird because the audience isn't expecting you to be a normal person.
No, sorry, that kind of came off a little bit asshole-ish. I obviously love everybody there, but like, you know what I mean? Like the Keys is just kind of like more chill. It's not like everyone there is a family. If anybody's gonna, and it's funny, all these other clubs in the city are trying to create this like family.
Yeah.
And they're failing. Then you go to Keys, and like, I think people that haven't even been in the Keys thing, they come to Keys and they're like, oh, you guys are all like, they're like, oh, this is cool. It's like a community. You know what I mean? It might be the biggest gong show community you've ever met, but there is like this aspect. Everybody loves Key as much as he is a fucking absolute crazy person. I love that guy, and everyone there does. Yeah, and just the freedom.
My friends who've come to see me there have all loved that place.
Mm-hmm.
Like no other club that people have seen me in have they mentioned the club at all.
No,
but they'll be like, my one friend like asks me like about Keys.
Oh, I have several friends that are like live up north, like 6 hours away, that like know of the allure of Key Epic, and they're like, and I just send them Snapchats and shit, and fucking, it's the best. I love Keys. I'm thankful for Keys. But yeah.
What do you have planned for the summer?
Not much. I'm going home a couple weeks for a big golf tournament back home. Then I have a wedding I'm going back home for in August. I'm actually emceeing.
Is your friend group in marriage season?
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, it's fucking ridiculous.
Do you love it?
No, I hate it. It's gay as fuck. There is nothing gayer than two people getting married, in my opinion. Two heterosexual people getting married, that's gay as shit.
It is gay, but I like gay stuff.
Hey, yeah, well, I don't know. I've always been like the single friend, right? I just don't want the party to ever end.
Yeah.
Like I want to get a frat house with all the boys. We're all gonna live in it. You know what I mean? Like I love that shit. And I just don't want the party to end, and it's happening. Everyone's leaving.
You said you're emceeing this wedding?
Yeah.
Have you done that before?
No.
Are you pumped?
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous too. It's for my buddy Charlie. Him and his fiance Bettina are getting married. So.
Are you gonna roast them?
Yeah, I guess. I guess that's what I'm supposed to do, or what am I supposed to do?
I feel like some people think they need to do that, and I don't.
No, I don't think I'm gonna roast them too, but I'm gonna roast like people in the wedding party.
Yeah.
Or like the audience a bit maybe. I don't know. I've never done it, so I really don't know like how you're supposed to do it. I've only been to like 2 weddings myself too, so I haven't really like seen somebody do it.
Yeah. I've been to a bunch of weddings, but I've never emceed and I've never really thought about what you're supposed to do. Other than I don't like people being mean at weddings.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I'm not. Yeah, it's just this weird thing that I'm kind of nervous for because it's not like comedy where you can kind of just no filter it. There's gonna be kids there too. I got to think about as well. So anything that you are gonna say needs to be like appropriate for children.
But you know, like when you're in a comedy club, you're talking to the audience a little bit and you want to make it feel like we're all a crew and comment on the things happening in the room. So it becomes like there's callbacks and that. I feel like you can do that easiest at a wedding. Everyone, like people already know each other and are trying to know more of each other.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm nervous about it, but I think it'll just be one thing that I've learned too is like anything's good. Like whether it goes bad, whether it goes good, it's all gonna be good. Like in the end, like it boils down, right? Like the worst nights that I've had doing comedy, like, are the ones that you actually like you take something from or whatever, right? So I don't know. Taking that mindset in the past like year has really grown my personality or whatever not personality, but making more confident person or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm nervous for it. It should be cool. Should be fun.
If you totally bomb it, it could be like a story for your stand-up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but anything like you do bad, like you're gonna learn. You're gonna be like, oh, yeah, whatever. Like you never learn from having a good set.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you have like any bomb that stands out for you?
Yeah.
Will you tell me about it?
I'd love to tell you about it. I quit my job, right? And I was like, I'm going to move to fucking Austin, Texas and become a professional comedian.
And you had a real job, right?
Yeah, I was a steel worker. And
okay.
I did real estate on the side as well.
Nice.
I just sold 2 houses. I was the worst real estate agent of all time. One of them was to my buddy. And so I was like, I quit. I'm moving to Austin, which is like ridiculous, right? And so like such a northern Ontario, no idea how the world works kind of thing.
And you picked Austin because Rogan's down there?
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. Like, I'm listening to podcasts, right? Like I'm literally just listening to Rogan. I'm like, I'm gonna move to Austin. So like no visa or fuck all. Like I didn't even know how that works, right? I remember just being like, I don't care, I'm moving and I'll fucking figure it out. Like my plan was like, I'll just like make cash on the side or something. Like I'll fucking figure it out. Because people were like, you have a visa? I'm like, fuck a visa. Like I'll figure it out. So then I ended up moving down there, and I moved in with a cult leader for a month. Oopsies. I had like a curfew and shit. I had to be in by 11 and up by 7. I had to write for 3 hours every morning.
So it was a cult, but the cult, like it was comedy oriented. Like it wasn't a religious cult.
Yeah, it wasn't really a cult. It was just one guy that was trying to run a cult, basically. He's a Canadian comedian, and
he's just taking in other comics.
He's taking advantage of open mic comedians. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and like spewing shit to them to make them. Anyways, yeah. So I paid this guy's rent to move down there, and like for a month, right? And like he originally I was gonna move down there, and he was like, just move down here for a month. Like you can, so how it happened is I messaged this guy because I had heard of him that he's a Canadian comedian. And so I messaged him like, hey man, like I'm Canadian. I'm moving to Austin. I was just wondering like where I should live geographically to be able to hit like open mics and stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes, man, well I'm moving, or I'm going on tour the time that you're gonna be here. Why don't you just like rent my place and you can stay at my place? And I'm like, fuck, awesome. I'm like thinking in my head like this guy's like connected, like he's on his Instagram, got pictures with like famous people. So I'm like, holy fuck, like this could be perfect, right? Because get good connections. So like, yeah, we line it up. He convinces me just to come down for the month and then do it. And he's feeding me all this classic cult leader shit, by the way. He's just telling me all these things, whatever I need to hear. So I quit my job. I moved down there. Turns out this guy doesn't go on his tour, and he's staying for the month now. And now instead of renting his place for $1,600 American, so about $2,000 I paid Canadian. He's gonna stay, and I get to sleep on his couch.
For $1,600.
Yeah. And I'm like, which is fine because I almost kind of enjoyed that more because now he's here.
So you're
and he
like,
can, like,
this
help
guy's
me.
going to help me.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, like, right. And I didn't know about like the cult aspect of it. But yeah, and I show up and like very quickly he's like telling me all these fucking things and like he's using his power though, like he's getting me on these spots, but he's like also like completely like I've looked into like cult shit and it's like he was like grooming my ass like for like you have to be in by 11. He was making sure that I was following rules, you know, like
What do they call it? Because it's like high demand or
I don't know what it was, but I was falling for all of it. And like yeah, so I had to be in by 11 or he'd lock the door. Up at 7, he'd make me get up at 7 and write for 3 hours. And then like a whole bunch of fucking ridiculous shit happened. One night he got me on this show and it was at the Creek in the Cave in Austin, which is, you know, like at the time was like one of their only clubs and it was a big deal. I was excited. And I bombed so fucking hard. It was like 150 people in there and like I walk into the green room and there's like actual comedian. Like I'm by the way 18 sets in. Like I'm very fresh into comedy. Like I have no idea and I'm coming from Northern Ontario. Like I've never been in a comedy scene before. And so I walk in the green room and I see comedians that I've seen online and I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, what the fuck? Like Craig Conton and like Derek Poston. And then this guy that I'm with like asked this girl if I can do a spot and she's like, yeah, go ahead, do 5 minutes. Like it's a tight show, just keep it to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, no problem. And I go out there and I like literally, Karen, I'm not even lying, like didn't get a single laugh like for 5 minutes straight. And I remember like 150 people too. Like it wasn't like I didn't like I've been at places with 100 people. Like it's not that hard to make like 10 people laugh, like 10%. You know?
yeah.
I swear to God, like as soon as I was so new, I walked out on stage and they could just smell it off me just by the way I grabbed the mic out of the stand and they can just tell. And it was just like, I remember at one point it was going so bad that like, you know, when you're like, you're not getting laughs. So you try to like go above and beyond to get the laugh. Like you're trying.
Yeah.
At one point I like kicked over the stool.
Oh no.
And it just like all you could hear in the whole place was just the stool rolling back and forth. And I like picked it up and like put it down and it was just like so silent in there. And I remember I walked off stage, walked out and like immediately left. And like the next morning I woke up and I was like looking for flights. Like I'm out of here. Like I'm not doing comedy. This is like 2 weeks into being there. Not even like, I think like 5 days. And like, I was like, I'm going home. Like this is fucked. Like I'm not even funny. And the guy that I was with, this is the only good thing that he ever did. He was like, go get some Kratom. And I'm like, what's that? And he's like, just go get some Kratom. And I went to the gas station, picked up Kratom. You ever try Kratom?
No.
It's like a lot of comedians use it, but it's like a natural birch bark that like fucks with your dopamine receptors. Like it's like a natural opium.
And you can get it at the gas station?
Yeah, and you can't even buy
Austin.
it here. Like here in Canada, you have to go to a bong shop and whisper to the guy so that he can Kratom, and he says he looks behind you. Like I literally just did it 2 days ago, but there you can just get it at the gas station and shit. And I'm like super anti-drug. Like I don't do drugs and shit. Never done blow in my life. And but like that's how down bad I was. He was like, do Kratom, and I said okay, and I just went and got it. And you have to like dry scoop it. It tastes like shit. And then that made me feel okay.
I thought you were gonna say he gave you like some sage advice about like how bombing is part of the process, but he was like, no, go do some drugs.
Yeah, that's how fucked he is. So go get some Kratom, bud. All right, I went and got Kratom. But yeah, no, that was the most fucked month of my life, and definitely will be a chapter in my book.
Nice. I don't know. I feel like bombing is like, it's humiliating, but then like you kind of realize like, well, I handled it, so it's fine.
Yeah, you just kind of, bombing just makes you think like it's hard to like think introspectively, but bombing is just gonna like make you do that, you know? Mm-hmm. Whereas like if you do good, it doesn't make you look introspectively. Like, when's the last time you did really good and you're like, why did it go like that? Like,
Yeah.
why did I do so good there? You don't, because you're just living off of the high of like doing good. Whereas like you bomb, you're gonna be thinking about it.
Yeah,
like
every
all
little
night.
aspect of it.
Yeah, and you kind of just micro dissect it.
I remember bombing one time at Keys, and it was a small audience, and there was a girl in the audience who I used to see all the time because she worked at the grocery store near my house. And then I just remember thinking, like, why would I bomb? Like, I performed so many times where there's literally no one I'm ever going to see again or that I've ever seen before. And then to bomb where there's just like one person I know, but not like I know them well enough that I think about it, but not well enough that they know me. And they're like, oh, but she's usually funny.
No, I know. Those, like, I find when I go back home and do those shows, I get nervous because like it's literally just a room filled with people.
Yeah.
And you know that if you don't do well, they're going to be chatting about it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, that aspect of like knowing the person in the crowd. And that's why like, but I think this whole process of like us doing this right now is like teaching us so that because if you can't handle a bomb now, what are you going to do when your shit goes viral or this big thing and everyone's hating you then? You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to handle that. Right? Where like, if that's what I'm saying about getting beat down, because like you're going to get beat down to the point where you don't care. Like, I've already realized that in just the year and a half that I've been here is like the amount that I care compared to what I did there. Like, not care about comedy. I care about comedy. Yeah. But I don't care what people think anymore. You know what I mean? Because like you're on your own mission.
So it's not like a jaded thing where you're like, screw everything.
No, it's not like it's more just, in the past year, I've cared less about other people and cared more about myself.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's kind of gay of me to say, but but it's like, you know what I mean though? It's like,
thank you for coming on my show and being gay.
Yeah, thank you. This is fucking Dr. Phil. But I don't know, like I don't care about, and I still do. Like I find that we're all at the point in comedy right now where every 6 months you got a new perspective on things because you're so like we're so in like early into it, right? Whereas, if you're 15 years in, you might have a little bit more of a constant thought or opinion where like we're just constantly learning how can I even have an opinion on what even comedy is right now at this point because I'm 2 years in. It's like, yeah, I know for a fact in 2 years I'm gonna be looking back and be like, holy fuck, that podcast me and Karen did, we were just spewing bullshit.
But do you have a thing right now that's like your focus or like your new epiphany or a thing you're obsessed with?
Well, the one thing like I've learned since being here is that like it's not really comedy. Like we're not actually chasing comedy.
What are we chasing?
We're content creators. Like, what are we doing right now?
Content. Yeah.
Or like, at the end of the day, like your comedy isn't going to make you big. Like anybody's, like everyone has. So like what I've realized is I'm like, all right, well, and my goal is like, I obviously want to be good at comedy and that's what I do. I do it every night to get good at that. Yeah. But you're basically just like, what's that called when like you're nurturing your comedy? Yeah. Well, you focus on the other avenue that's actually going to make people come and watch your comedy.
Yeah. Like you have to get attention online. So you're like big enough, but then you have to be practicing your stand up. So you actually have like a thing.
Yeah. And it's like, I guess some people like actually grow their following off of like maybe their clips, like some people, but like most people are like creating content and then they'll obviously, because they've blown up, they'll throw their reels in there of their actual comedy. But I find that at this point, like you gotta find another avenue, which is obviously, putting shit on Instagram and fucking shit like that.
I was thinking like I don't want to just put any clips on there. I want to like record a full hour and then clip it.
Yeah. I don't even think that's viable. Or not what's viable? I mean,
possible?
Is that what it means? Like because I've thought about that too. It's like, I think that the only way that it's like, what's that word, sustainable, is if you're like constantly putting like crowd work up, unless you're just pumping out fucking clips, because eventually, like, even if you do the hour, you know, how many clips are you gonna get out of that?
Yeah, so you still need other stuff to put up,
and you're supposed to be posting 10 times a week supposedly.
Shit.
Right? That's how like competitive it's gotten. So like, you need to be putting 10 times out a week just to be able to get your face out there. So you get, all right, so let's say you do your hour, like, even if you get 30 clips out of it, that's 3 weeks.
Fuck. Are you filming your crowd work?
No, I don't film anything.
Are we gonna start? Is this what's happening?
Well, it should, like, I don't know, I just don't. Yeah, the thing is, like I said earlier about the 6 months thing, it's like a year ago I started posting some clips, but then I'm like 4 months I'd be like, oh, and I delete it because we're at this point where it's every 4 months is so substantial in like your progress.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're building up, that it's like, I guess you could post, and yeah, you should. Everyone should, but like for me, I don't know. I just get in my head about it.
I think I didn't really have anything online for the first year. I just have like a photo of me on stage and like a couple clips.
Yeah.
And now my content is basically my podcast,
which is good. And seriously, seeing your shit come up, I was like, okay, I got to start doing mine too again. And that's part of it too. It's like within the scene, people like motivate each other as well.
I think there's also like, there's a lot of people who do like a one-off joke or a topical joke, or they're just like talking to the camera. That's probably not it's much effort. You know, it's not like writing stand-up. It's just like go on once a day and try to like talk at the camera.
Yeah, I think like just, I don't know about you, but like I have these people on like Instagram or TikTok that'll come up on my feed that are like, they're not famous, they're not doing anything cool. They're just constantly posting. Yeah. And I'm there for it. Yeah. Like, it'll just come up and I'm like, oh, it's this fucking single mom making dinner for her kids. Yep. Again, Like, and I'm like, yeah, like I don't follow her or anything, but like I know her whole life.
Sometimes it's hard to explain to other people, like, okay, so she's a random lady. Mm-hmm. Like, what's her expertise? Like, what does she just like talks a lot about, you know, like anime and like other stuff.
You an anime girl?
No.
I was going to walk out. First podcast to end via anime.
Hey, I love anime people.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's weird.
You think anime is weird or anime people are weird?
Well, if you're like over the age of 12 watching cartoons, what are we doing though? Right? There's got to be like some kind of point where we go, entertaining, childish.
The Simpsons is cartoons.
Yeah, I was just about to say like Simpsons, South Park, but also like that's the thing too. Yeah, if you're over 15, like sitting down and watching South Park or The Simpsons, give your fucking head a shake, bro.
I feel like that's when my prime years of watching Simpsons.
15's a little young, but I'm saying like if you're out of college watching Simpsons or South Park, bro, kick rocks. Get a fucking real job.
What are you watching?
I'm watching documentaries. I'm learning. All right? I'm reading the Bible. I'm not reading. I'm listening to the audiobook of the Bible. But I'm some real shit. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. I also do a lot of childish shit too. So
what's the most childish shit you do?
I don't know. Get shit on my hands like every third time I wipe. No, but childish thing. I do like a lot of childish things. Like sometimes I'll leave a plate in the dishwasher or the dishes. Just leave it there for a week.
As an experiment?
Yeah. I don't know. I golf and drink a lot of beers. That's childish. Isn't it weird how like you keep on growing up and you think that like at a point like they're just like, I always thought like, oh, you grow up and like you hit 22 and your body just like doesn't want to do like
Yeah.
oh, this is the most child. I eat candy like a motherfucker. I'm 27.
I've seen you eating candy. It's hilarious.
I love good,
like you'll roll up on an open mic and you just like
I'm just gumming on some candy. No, I love candy, and it's like that's the thing too. Like I try to write a joke about it, but it's like I thought like when I'd get like 20 years old, like your body would just like shut off the want for candy. You know what I mean? Like I never thought when I was 14 that I'd be like 27, fucking sneaking out to get a fucking nerd rope at 2 a.m.
I feel like the more like I actually think it's a mature thing to like delve into the things you loved as a kid. Like if your favorite thing to do was like riding your bike around, like that's what you should still be doing that as an adult.
Yeah. Well, I'd say child, like riding a bike, it's not too childish. Could be though. If it's like a super cycle. If it doesn't have 18 gears, then it's childish.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming on my podcast.
Damn, it's already been an hour.
It
flies by, eh?
For sure.
It's wild. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'm gonna start doing my podcast too soon. So if you guys want to take a look at it,
so check out Ben Albert on all the socials.
Yeah, Ben Albert with 3 T's on Instagram. I don't know why you're laughing at that.
Oh, that's real.
No, it was real. Thank you.